be more than human. Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Joseph Carroll. I write under the pen name J.R. Carroll, and today we're going to talk about some horror books. Now, I've never been opposed to reading horror. I think last year I had 6 or 7 horror books that I got in. Probably my favorite horror book I've ever read is the second book in the Rising series called City of the Dead by Brian Keene. Now, I did 3 Brian Keene books last year. He's mostly known for horror. I did 2 Clive Barker books, The Hellbound Heart and Mr. Be Gone. Excellent books. Carmilla, which is classified as a horror book, but I don't know. I feel like that's more of a thriller. So this year I'm trying to expand, mostly if you're familiar with my channel, but if not, most of what I do is fantasy related. I'm trying to expand out into more sci-fi and more horror. So I've been doing some research here, and we're looking at 10 must-read horror books. And in these, some of these I've heard of, some of these I hadn't heard of. Put in the comments, have you, as we kind of go through this, have you read any of these? Are any of these on your radar? So let's jump into it. They're not in any specific order. Just kind of as I was researching these. So I may have to look down. I probably will butcher some of these names because some of these names are, Japanese names and some stuff. So you'll see. But I will try and put the books up on the screen somewhere here so you can, see the covers and everything. But the first book, and this book has been on my radar for quite some time, and that is The Exorcist. Now, everybody knows one of the biggest horror movies ever made. It was like super controversial when it came out, but it was a book before it was a movie, and the book also I've heard is very scary and very controversial. Maybe it was just for that time, but I'm definitely interested in seeing how, because it's about a little girl who is possessed by a demon, and I'm looking forward to seeing, as I'm a parent now, how maybe that affects me differently than the movie did back when I seen it. I'm not one that's very scared very easily, whether it's in books or movies, but certain things have affected me differently since having a kid, so we'll see how that one goes. But I believe that was written by William Blatty. I'm totally going to butcher these names, but that's the first one that really popped out at me that I just knew I wanted to read. And another one, I'd heard of this book, the second book here, Tender is the Flesh, and that's by Agustina. Can't even try to pronounce that last name, but again, it'll be up here. This is a relatively new book in the last 5 or 6 years, and I've heard some rave reviews about how crazy this book was. I believe this book is about some kind of virus came through, and now humans can't eat animal meat, so we have to turn to cannibalism. And it becomes like, I don't know if it's like human factory farming and stuff like that, but that I'm a premise person. I am a character reader first, but man, can I get down for a cool idea. And so this to me is a very interesting idea. Kind of brings me back to like Soylent Green type deals. That was a whole different situation that they were doing, but very interested to see how this one goes. The next is another classic one, and that is the Amityville Horror. I want to say that's by J. Anson. seen a bunch of the movies, and I just wanted, a family moves into a house where a bunch of murders had happened. I believe it takes place over like a 28-day period where the family is kind of haunted. And I am super interested to see. The original movie scared the bejesus out of me, and I want to see if the book can replicate that feeling. I've read, not too many books that have to do with ghosts, so I don't know how like ghosts are going to translate to being scary in books, but I'm interested to see, if that, if it can kind of creep me out or not. Now, the fourth book on the list is, now I could have filled this list with Stephen King books, but a book I'm definitely going to read this year, probably going to read it next month, in fact, is Pet Cemetery. I've seen, the original, I've seen the newer remake. I think we all know the premise. You put your pets in the cemetery, they come back to life. What ensues, you can kind of think of what's going to happen. But I'm definitely, one of my good friends, Alex, here on BookTube, he read it last year, I want to say, and he said it like, really hit hard for you if you have kids. So another one, very interested to see my outlook on it now. And then this next book I had never heard of until I watched a video from Criminale, and it's the Wasp Factory, and I had to go look this book up, and it has another very interesting idea. It's where this 16-year-old kid, when he was younger, had killed like 3 of his friends, and he thought it was a phase or whatever, and so him and his dad live on this island, and he's like does these, it says he does some kind of like rituals or something. I assuming he's like, I think it was like sacrificing animals or torturing animals or something along with wasps, and then he has a brother who also has like mental illness or something, and like breaks out and Michael Myers style, right, and is headed for them. And so he's got to do something. I don't know if he's setting up some kind of magic or something, but that is a cool premise. And that's what most of these horror books that I want to read are very kind of, each one of them has a different type of premise that's out of the ordinary. And I want to say that book is by, I want to say like Iain Banks, maybe. But so our next book is another book I have heard, I want to say a couple years back, Books with Brittany, read it, and it's called Tomei, and it is about this Japanese girl who's supposed to be the most beautiful girl in the world, and she can get men to do whatever she wants. She can have them kill people, but something about like if they kill her, sometimes like if they'll kill her, I don't know if they get so jealous or something, but they'll kill her, they'll go to prison, but she resurrects. She's like unkillable. And so she's got all these men, apparently multiple men or more, are like in prison for killing her, but she just keeps coming back. So that seems like a pretty cool, like, I mean, not them killing her is not cool, but the premise of resurrection and her being able to kind of influence these men is a pretty cool premise. And that's a again, that is a Japanese book, and it is, I'm gonna lie, I'm not even gonna be able to pronounce the name, but it'll be up here. And then the next one is also another Japanese book that was made into a film. I want to say I watched this film like 12 years ago, maybe 15 years ago. It's called Audition, and the book, and it's by Ryu Matsuzaki. But this is about a filmmaker who, like, his wife passes, and he does these fake auditions where he's auditioning these younger women, and to see which ones he like connects with to be his next wife. But he doesn't realize that, like, the one girl that he really is clicking with has a darker side to her, and so craziness ensues. I don't remember exactly all of what happens within the movie, so this will be good because I don't have it all like in my head still, so it'll be something new, and I just know I just remember thinking this movie is crazy, which is a good thing, and a kind of, because I want to say it's kind of like your gore, kind of a gore fest kind of movie. So it'd be interesting to see how that translates into books. And then the next one is You. Now that is also, it's a Netflix show. It's on like its third season. Me and my wife love this show. It is such an addicting show, and it's about a guy who works at a bookstore, who is like a habitual stalker. Like, he falls in love very easily with women, and then he gets obsessed and he has to stalk them, and then murders begin to happen. And it gets wild. The show is amazing, so I'm hoping that the book can come across just as well. And then we have another book that I've heard about, but I didn't know too much other than just kind of hearing about it through the book community, and that's the Fisherman. And I guess we have these two guys. I want to say their names are Abe and Dan, and both of their wives die, and they kind of bond over like fishing, and so they decide that they're gonna go. They've heard about this really great fishing hole that I don't think they really believed it, but they're supposed to be like, oh, where you can reconnect with your loved ones and stuff like that. And then they get up there and it's more than they bargained for type deal. So that one, another really cool premise that interests me, and I'm really kind of looking forward to seeing, because I'm always about like friends. I like friendships even more than family sometimes in books. So I'm wondering to see how, if this is a thing that kind of splits them apart or brings these two guys together, or how what direction it actually takes. And then the last book on the list is called Butcherbird, which I've also is kind of thing I've heard, through I want to say maybe it was kind of big for a minute on BookTube at one point. Several different people were reviewing it. This girl's parents and her siblings die in a fire, and so she's sent away by her grandmother, and then her grandmother, is starting to pass, and she comes back to, I don't know if it's the house where they died in the fire or their property, but she figured out that there's some kind of mysterious entity that is trying to kill her whole family that lives on the property. So, kind of spirit or creature, so that kind of interests me. Kind of a mystery involved in it, which I'm kind of getting into more mysteries. But so that's my top 10 horror books that I must read. Let me know, are any of these on your list? What am I missing out on? And maybe there's something that you think I should really read if these are the type of books that I'm into. Let me know. And if you enjoy this type of content, make sure you're subscribed, and I will see you in the next one.